In 1987, a young teenage girl prophesied that she would not live past the age of 16, and it appears the prophecy was fulfilled. Welcome to Something Strange. Catherine Marie Hobbs, who went by the nickname Kathy, had a particularly hard childhood. Her parents divorced when she was 8 years old, and this was particularly hard for her as she was very close to her father. When she was in middle school, she had a close friend die from a heart condition, and she almost always spoke of feelings or premonitions that she would never live to be 16 years old. She and her family moved to a residential apartment complex in the Las Vegas area in order to help her get her mind off of her fears. She adjusted well, and she made friends, but as her 16th birthday approached, the fears began to escalate again. Kathy feared that she was going to die. She spent all of her time in her room and refused to leave the house. On the morning of her 16th birthday, however, she was surprised and relieved to realize that she was still alive. And after that, it appeared that she had overcame her fears and also confided to her family that the premonitions were unfounded, and she began to live a more normal teenage life. She started to spend more time with her friends and also began to wear makeup, and she developed an interest in beauty products and started seeing a future for herself unveil, and she decided that she wanted to pursue a career as a beautician. She was even inspired to open up her own salon in the future called Kat's Cuts. However, her fate would change on the night of July 23rd, 1987. Kathy was very fond of books, and that night she was reading a book in her room. Roughly around 11 p.m., she told her mother Vivian that she wanted to go to the local store to pick up another book. Even though it was pretty late at night, her mother really didn't fear anything as the store was only a couple of blocks away and she usually went with her friends. But that night, none of her friends were around, and Kathy went to the store alone. At around 3 a.m., her mother Vivian awoke from a sound sleep. According to her, she felt that she had been hit on the head, and afterwards she had a peaceful feeling that, quote, it was over. At the time, she did not understand the meaning of this experience that she had that night. The next morning, Vivian discovered that her daughter's bed was empty. Following that, she contacted the police and an extensive search began, and it was of course feared that she had been abducted. Her picture was released to the entire police department, and the local media publicized her disappearance, as well as volunteer organizations that were mobilized to search for her. Tracing back to the supermarket, one employee was later questioned by police, and he said that he sold Kathy a book and she left. At this point, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Store receipts did confirm that someone purchased a paperback novel at 11:17 p.m. on the night of her disappearance. The evidence showed that she had made it to the store at the intersection of Desert Inn Road and Maryland Parkway, but the authorities just could not determine where she went from there. At this point, the authorities did indeed believe that she was abducted, but they couldn't find any witnesses, even though it was a very highly populated area. And it wasn't until 9 days later that a very gruesome discovery was made. Her body was discovered by geologists looking for rock crystals in a remote field near Lake Mead, which is roughly about an hour's drive from Las Vegas. The investigators found tire prints at the scene, which showed that a vehicle had pulled in, turned around, and left promptly. 2 rocks were also found near her body, covered in blood. The blood was analyzed by authorities, and it was determined that the bloodstains matched her blood type. The coroner's office determined that she had died from repeated blows to the head, and that she had also been sexually assaulted. Strangely, after her death, her family found letters that she had written to them. The letters were dated roughly 1 month before her 16th birthday, and she talked about how much she loved her family and did not want them to be upset about her death. And it appears that Kathy's premonitions were almost accurate. She did live to her 16th birthday, but died merely 3 months after it. As Kathy's family mourned, the investigation with authorities continued. A breakthrough was made on October 24th, exactly 3 months after Kathy vanished. An answering machine at the Las Vegas Police Department recorded a call from an anonymous informant who claimed to have witnessed her abduction. This person gave the correct location of where Kathy was last seen along with an accurate description of what she was wearing that night. He claimed that he did not contact police sooner because he was out of town for several months. Authorities theorized that Kathy was abducted by one or two individuals somewhere between the store and her apartment complex. They believed that she was driven to the lake and killed that evening, and the caller's story seemed to fit with their theory. The caller also gave a license plate number for the abductor's car, however, the caller did not leave his name or any contact information, which in my opinion is highly suspicious. But the police did check the license plate number and discovered that it did not exist. Despite repeated attempted appeals, the witness has never called back, and Kathy's murder remained unsolved at that point. But as of today, it appears Kathy's abduction and murder has been solved, and the case has been closed. Authorities eventually linked her murder to a serial killer named Michael Lee Lockhart from Toledo, Ohio. In May of 1987, Lockhart stole a blue 1986 Toyota Celica and kept it until November of 1987. Authorities believe that it was during this time he abducted and murdered Kathy. There is blue fibers found at the crime scene that matched fibers from the stolen vehicle. Also, credit card receipts also placed him in Las Vegas at the time of the murder. And then finally, when investigators did question him about Kathy's case, he virtually confessed to the crime. Lockhart was convicted for a series of murders in Texas, Indiana, and Florida, and was eventually executed in Texas on December 9th, 1997. And it was at that moment that Kathy Hobbs had finally received justice. So did Kathy rightfully foresee her death and demise, or was this just a matter of pure coincidence? Please let me know what you think about this case in the comments below. And also, I greatly appreciate your patience, as I know there's been a bit of a video drought lately, and I also plan on posting much regularly again soon. And please definitely follow me on Twitter for channel updates, and please subscribe for future content and to help grow this channel.